Last week on Married to the Games.
Well, I know we already talked about Best Buy, but I think they deserve this. Oh my gosh. What happened?
Yellow light.
No. Oh my God.
Those Sims, I can't ever keep the baby in my house. Every time I got married on there and had a baby, they came and took that joint.
What, the child services come and pick up your baby?
Yeah, the child service come get the baby. I was like, oh snap. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. You know what it is. It's that kids and wives and 9-to-5s, but we are married to the games. Thank you guys for being here. 041. We are keeping it moving. We talk about life and games and life, and we love it. It's your boy Gabe Patillo with Timothy Hall and Tim Router, of course, and as always,
Gabe, you got to conserve some of that energy, man. You just used it all up.
I'll keep it up. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we are happy to be here. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to jump right in. We've got another interesting interview for you guys today, sitting down with a guy named Bradley Metrock. He owns a video game store here in Franklin called The Score. And he's a very, very smart guy. Very interesting. You know, sometimes you think you get to sit down with somebody and then be like, yes, and I own this store and it's great. And, you know, we've been here for a couple years and that's great. And it's awesome. And I love it. But this interview is so much more than that. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. He dropped some knowledge, as they said back in the 90s. So anyway, we're going to get to Router real quick. How you been, that there brethren?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I can't believe we're at episode 41. You know, last week we didn't even mention that we turned 40.
I know.
I think that was a milestone. I mean, isn't that usually when you have to go to the doctor and like
it's
get
that
Proctologist?
It's that.
Yes,
it's that check.
It's hey, you're 40. Bend over. It's one of those. I can't believe it, man. We've been doing it. It's 41 episodes. I'm really excited. Anyway.
Yeah.
Week was good. Finally got my Last of Us on, what was that, Wednesday of last week. Still didn't play it until I
think I got it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Hall, you and I were on the same shipping path because of our locations. But week's been good. Work has just been killing me. I've been getting up every morning at like 4:00 in the morning to try and get some stuff done, and then working through the day, redoing our dining room. So I was we're starting to paint. I had to patch the walls and ceilings and all that kind of fun stuff. My in-laws are closing and moving in their new home this weekend.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm super excited for them. So they will officially be Tennesseans come this weekend. So that'll be cool.
That's awesome.
Wife's good. Piper's good. She has a little bit of an ear infection again, but she's actually, it doesn't seem to be stopping her. She's still full throttle. But things are good. And like I said, I just started The Last of Us yesterday.
Yeah, and you beat Borderlands, right?
Yes. Sorry, I beat Borderlands 2. Hall freaking loved that game. That was a great game.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, it was just a lot of fun. I think I did almost all of the side missions except for there was like one or two that I tried. It's one of those timing ones, and I was like, forget it. I got other things to do. But it's a great game, and Gabe, you have to play. So I've got it here, and you're gonna have to play it at some point because I think you'll like it. I hope. I mean,
yeah, it's a lot better than the first one as far as the mechanic.
Yeah, the mechanics are better. I didn't mind the first one, but now that I've played the second one, I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit better. It's just an improvement from everything, but it was a fun game. But loving those Pulse Elites, man, I cannot tell you how much that's changed my life. It's just like everything just sounds incredible. And
Nice.
and you're right, man. Starting The Last of Us, I am like, I mean, you just hear everything, and it just sounds so good. And man, the voice acting is just great.
Ain't it
It's
ridiculous?
just it. You know what? It's like carefree. It's like they just sat in the booth and they just rolled with it, and it doesn't sound forced. It doesn't sound scripted. It's just boom. It's like really natural and very human.
It's a real testament to the writing of
Yeah.
how, you know what I'm saying, how good the writing is, because I was watching an interview with Troy Barker, I think his name is, the guy that voiced Joel, and he was just saying when the writing's that good, it makes it so much easier, which
Yeah.
makes perfect
I can
sense.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the story so far is incredible. Right now, just where I'm at, and you know, there's no spoilers. I've met Ellie, and we're getting out of the zone that we're in. So, that's how far along. I haven't gotten that far, but I'm basically just trying to dedicate an hour in the morning just to sit down, play it, and then once my hour's up, then I just stop. And I love that there's not a whole lot of loading time. I mean, it's a beautiful looking game. I'm just, the more I'm playing it, the more I'm just getting excited about it.
There you go. Troy Baker. I'm sorry. I said Barker. Troy Baker. Troy
No,
Baker.
it's all good.
Go look him up. He does a bunch of stuff. He's awesome.
Yeah, so that's been me, man. Work and The Last of Us.
I love that. Hall, I want yours to sound very similar to that.
Oh no! I mean, yes, Last of Us. Got it on Wednesday of last week. Well, I didn't really talk about work, but work is the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got it on Wednesday, and I've been playing it pretty loud, so I can have a similar experience. I haven't bought a headset yet, but I'll be there soon. So.
You don't need a headset, though.
I kind of do need a headset because I would like to play in the morning, probably too.
Mm.
And you can't do that very loud. So,
No, it's a good time to play, man. It really is.
But yeah, man, really enjoying the game, man. They grip you right away,
Shoot,
like right
boy.
from the start, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, without spoiling anything. Wow.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes, you're like an emotional basket case. By the end, you're like, holy crap, what's going on?
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes of Up, where they just
Exactly.
Yeah.
grab your heart and destroy it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
But yeah, so far so good. I think I'm around the same place Tim is. So, you know, you meet up with Ellie. That's not a spoiler.
Oh, man, you're hanging out with a girl the whole game? Ah, now I don't even want to play it.
That's it.
But
I'm out of here.
no, it's yeah, man. It's a lot of fun. The controls don't necessarily remind me too much of Uncharted, like right off the bat.
Right.
There's definitely some similarities, though. It's kind of cool. Like once you played a Naughty Dog game, you know that like the triangle is going to be kind of your big friend for picking up everything. And you know, there's I noticed a few things here and there, and it's actually comforting. It's like, oh, okay, I'm back with these guys. It's a different game, but the mechanics are somewhat similar.
Yeah, it's kind of like follow the yellow ledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you look for the yellow ledge, then you kind of know that's where you need to be headed to.
Yeah, and I like that it's a little slower of a game. I mean,
Mhm.
I did get into it was funny because I did get into one section where I just had to run until I basically wore them out and then just shoot them.
No.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that was so much fun, and really I can recommend the game to anyone. It's well worth a day one purchase. Just it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot. It kind of takes a lot of the things from games over this generation and puts them into one package.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one thing that's cool about coming out at the end of the generation is that they can take all of that stuff that they've learned from developing, 3 other games, and they just did Uncharted 1 through 3, right? That was it.
No, Naughty Dog's done other games.
No, I'm saying this generation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they took what they learned over developing those 3 games, and then it basically perfected programming for the PS3.
Yep.
and then they take all of the mechanics that had been learned over the course of this generation. I mean, if you play a game from 2007 and you play a game from today, they are extremely different.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, at times, it's almost hard to go back and play some of those older games. Like even playing like BioShock, that was from, I think, 2006 maybe. I mean, even playing that was like eye-opening to how much stuff has changed. So just going back and playing that. So
I'm interested to play an older game too, because I posted on Twitter this past week that I found a gift card at GameStop. So I ended up getting Infamous and Dead Space 1. And those are 2008, 2009 titles. So I'm really curious. I'm curious going back to see just how different compared to what I'm playing now. 5 years or 4 or 5 years have gone. So it'll be cool.
It's very interesting to see the way it progresses, because basically you have somebody come out with a game and then everybody says, oh, that was a really good idea, but they can't implement it for another 2 or 3 years because they're working on another game.
Yeah.
So.
The thing I keep just getting tripped up on, I went to a co-write yesterday, and the guy was calling. I was like, hey, what time can you do? He's like, 2:00. I was like, cool. He's like, hey, can you bring The Last of Us with you? I was like, heck yeah, I can. And so I took it over to him and got to watch him play first 15 minutes. Yeah. Got to watch him play the first 15 minutes of the game. And sitting back and watching someone else play it, I was like, this game looks freaking good, man.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? It looks so good. Gracious. So it's definitely like that progression that you've seen on the PlayStation. You're like, shoot, man, this next generation is about to be ridiculous, because we already think that stuff looks ridiculous, and when they're going to be pushing that to the limit in 3-4 years from now, it's going to be crazy.
It will be.
I can't wait.
I'm really hoping for better frame rates next generation. Frame rates that don't get stopped up or anything.
Oh, you'll get it.
Yeah, I think we'll get it.
I did want to mention before we go on the sound of The Last of Us. A lot of people have commented on that. I think there's an interview with the composer, and I believe that's through Sony. I think I watched it on one of their news feeds or something. And then there's a Soundworks collection. There's an actual video, and they go behind the sound of The Last of Us. And that's on Soundworks website, soundworkscollection.com.
Let's put that up.
So it's something to look at if you're really interested in the audio of The Last of Us.
Yeah, it
awesome.
Sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, even when you're walking with your backpack, you hear the shuffle of the backpack on your back, and I think he's wearing, where I'm at, he's wearing jeans. I think that he does that throughout the game, but you hear the swooshing when he's either running or walking. I mean, they thought of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree.
Definitely.
Mr. Patillo, you're up. How was your week?
It was good. I had shows this weekend and then got home on Sunday. And, my PS3 has been broken for a week and a half. And then so luckily for me, when we got our bus, it had a PlayStation on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I was like, oh, snap. This is last weekend, Father's Day weekend. And so that's the only way I got to play Last of Us, is because I had gotten it when we came home for Father's Day and got to play it on the bus. And so when I came home, I couldn't play it. And so I've just kind of been iOSing here and there and Candy Crushing and scouring Craigslist. And finally, this last Sunday, I stumbled on a great deal on Craigslist. So I went and got I got a Super Slim.
Sweet.
Oh, I didn't realize you said Super Slim. I thought it was just a Slim.
I thought it was just a Slim
Super
too.
Slim. And it's sexy as all get out, and it's small. So I think where before, when I had to take my PlayStation on the road because I had the fatty, I had to use a totally separate
2 duffel bags.
Yeah.
I literally had to take another suitcase, another carry-on size roller bag. And I leave tonight for Virginia. We leave at 6:30 because the drive is so long.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll go from Virginia to Ohio to Dallas to Nashville. So that's the driving we're about to do over the next weekend. And so I'm taking Last of Us and something else because I know I'll probably beat it on this trip.
Dude, take
we're
The
gonna
Last
be
of Us.
driving so much.
Take The Last of Us and Skyrim because you're going to have a lot of driving to do. So those are two perfect long games that you can just sit down and do.
Here's the problem. My PlayStation went all, yellow light of death on me. So I don't have any of my saved games anymore.
Oh, no.
Because I'm an idiot and I never trust servers, quote unquote. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the old school in me that doesn't trust servers. So I've never backed my used games up to the server from my PlayStation Plus account. And so the only reason I had Last of Us was because when I was on the bus, I was like, you know what? I know I'm switching consoles. So let me get my USB stick and put my save game on there and then put that on my new Slim. So I don't get any trophies and stuff, but at least I get to pick up where I left off. I thought I was going to have to start over.
I see what you're saying. So you couldn't sync up your profile on that other machine.
Exactly. So, but I'm okay with it. So all that to say, I was a good couple hours into Skyrim, and I probably won't restart that game.
Yeah, that's probably
so
smart.
I'm thinking after I beat Last of Us probably this weekend, I'll just dive into XCOM.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that is a good choice, man. Oh gosh, that game is good.
Aren't you jealous? Aren't you jealous when you've beaten something already and somebody's going to go back and play it? You're like, oh man, I wish I could replay that game.
I really wish I could. It was that good. The first time I played it, for some reason, it didn't save.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I played for 4 hours and it didn't save, and I really was not that upset.
Hey, you can get it.
There you go.
You can get it for free now. PS Plus. I downloaded it.
That's right.
So I can't wait to play that.
Router.
I got it.
Hit us up. That's me pretty much.
Perfect. New releases this week. We got a couple of them. Best of PlayStation Network Volume 1 for the PS3. I have no idea what's on there. I just found it and listed it. Company of Heroes 2 is getting a reboot, and it's going to be on PC. I think the bigger one that people are reviewing and talking about is Deadpool. That comes out for the PC, Xbox, and PS3. Muramasa Rebirth for the Vita. Phantom Breaker for the Xbox 360. Project X Zone for the 3DS. And Lego Legends of Shima Laval's Journey for the 3DS and Vita.
There you go.
So, there you have it. So that's new releases. I think the bigger one out of all of those is Deadpool. And I don't know how I feel about that yet. I haven't watched or read any reviews about it. But I know it's been kind of an up and down thing with that game. Anyway, so top selling games. Week ending June 15th. What do you think was number one?
Luigi.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, of course, I want it to be Last of Us.
And you would be correct, sir. The Last of Us comes in at number one.
Yes, sir.
462,000 units in its first week. So that's great. I'm really curious to see if that. I have a feeling this is going to have some staying power based on all of the press and reviews and acclaim it's gotten already. So yeah, that's a great starting debut. Man, but here's another one. Number two, another 3DS game comes out and rocks it. Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Oh, yeah, I knew that would do well.
Golly, people love Animal Crossing. I've never played it because it sounds so boring.
I know, right? That's what I think too.
I've never played it either, but I have heard it's just kind of a what is it, like a sim farm type of thing?
I literally have zero idea. But I know that I think on the Wii, you were able to talk to other people as you played, like over voice.
That's kind of cool.
And I think that's what people really liked about that. I know that one of my neighbor's wives played it, and she used to play it all the time. I think it's probably just another one of those, kind of Ville kind of games.
That's one of those games where I can support cross-game chat if it's a little boring, like you say.
Yeah.
Or it seems mundane or whatever. I mean, I'm sure it's all about the micromanagement. Like, I've been playing this iPhone game. I've been addicted to this iPhone game called MLB Big Win. And all you do is manage a baseball team. So
You don't even play it?
What's that?
Do you even play it? Do you play the baseball
You don't
game?
play the game. You just manage the team.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, that's probably way more boring of a game. So, but I can understand where the management thing is fun. So,
Right.
Just
Yeah,
goes
I used to be a roller coaster tycoon guy myself.
Nice. You know, I mean, it's interesting because Animal Crossing is number 2. It did 323,000 units.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, that's what was surprising. It's like, oh, it's only 135,000 less than The Last of Us. So, you know what? These kind of family fun, non-adventure, non-serious kind of games, people are buying them and still loving them. So,
I got to be honest, if I had a 3DS, I'd probably get it. Like, just to try it out.
sure.
I might get a 3DS.
I'm thinking about it.
Like I feel like I'm really missing out.
I mean, there are 3 3DS games in the top 10 this week. That's good. That's impressive. I'm pretty impressed by that. So let me run down the rest of them. So number 3 was Minecraft for the Xbox 360.
Mhm.
Number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
What?
Again.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm telling you, all those the Call of Duty Ghosts trailers are probably the word of mouth and the culprit of getting people to buy these older games too. Because also Batman Arkham City came in at number 7 and 10, and I think that's because of the trailers. Because I've seen TV commercials now for Batman Arkham Orange, or I said it again, Arkham Oranges.
There it is.
There it is.
I love it.
Number 5 was Donkey Kong Country. 6 was Call of Duty. 7, Batman, as I already said. 8, Luigi's Mansion. 9, Just Dance 4. And number 10 was Batman Arkham City. So there you have it. Top selling games for the week.
I like it.
Way to go, Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Just Dance 4. That's so funny. So on one hand, you've got Black Ops 2. On the other hand, you've got Just Dance 4.
Yep.
2 games that couldn't be more different from each other.
And they're probably in the same household all over the country.
That's what I'm saying.
That's awesome. Hall, you have anything before we get to this interview real quick?
No, I just, for some reason, I pictured in my head a Just Dance game with dancing Call of Duty guys.
That would be incredible.
And you dance to Call of Duty music.
Can
That's
someone
perfect.
please make that happen?
With like explosions behind you.
You almost get that at the end of, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't, for anybody who hasn't seen it, they need to go see it. But at the end of the campaign, I think on Black Ops 2, you get a taste of that if that whets anybody's appetite to beat the campaign and stay after the credits.
Wow, I'm just gonna have to go watch it.
Yep.
It's crazy. If you don't want to freaking beat the game, or if you're close to beating Black Ops 2 on the campaign, just wait till the end of the credits. It goes way left turn.
Wow.
way
awesome.
left. I remember being like, why are they even doing this?
Oh boy.
I wanted to say real quick, just because we're talking about Last of Us, Ellen Page is kind of in the news, tied to The Last of Us a little bit, saying that she feels like they might have ripped off her image a little bit for the Ellie character.
I can see that.
It is such a coincidence that they named her a similar name too. That's a little weird.
I know Ellie, Ellen. Yeah, they definitely are both young-looking white ladies with brown hair. The thing, though, I thought was interesting was if you look at some of the stories out about it, they've kind of changed the way Ellie looks over time, and she looks way less like Ellen Page than she used to. She used to really look like Ellen Page,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, kind of like with powdier lips and things like this, or she has powdier lips now, and Ellen Page doesn't have powder, something like that. But I thought it was really interesting. But I think playing the game, I don't get Ellen Page from Ellie's character.
Neither do I.
Yeah, would you guys agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I think if you're playing as playing The Last of Us and Ellie's there running around and saying stuff to you, I don't think you get the Ellen Page feel. But I think, of course, you could probably take a picture and put another picture of Ellen Page next to it, and you kind of feel it. But I don't feel like they like ripped her off as a character, but maybe ripped her off as somebody familiar to us.
Well, when the first little bit of this game came out, like everybody said that. So
Right.
where was she then?
Yeah.
Right, doing Beyond Two Souls and not worried about it.
Yeah, I think so.
But now that she's in a video game, I think that it's taking away the thunder because you feel like you've seen Ellen Page in a video game already when she probably wanted this to be her coming out, you know?
Right.
Anyway, Router, you have anything before we hit this interview?
No, man, I'm anxious to let our listeners hear this interview.
Well, let's do it. Gabe Patillo at the score. So I'm sitting here with Bradley Metrock in the middle of Cool Springs in the score, right?
That's right.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So we are surrounded by video games. This is pretty awesome. And this is where you work.
It is. You know, I've owned the score for 5 years. We built up a loyal following with our retail store that's extended into our ScoreCon convention that we run every year.
Yes.
And we've been fortunate. You know, our sphere of influence has grown well beyond the store. And but we're happy because we've been able to serve Nashville, the greater Nashville area for the last 5 years.
I was thinking about that as I was driving over. I was like, man, the score's been there for a while. You've seen places right and left of you come and go. I was thinking, Bradley's a brave man. You're in the middle of Cool Springs. It's not cheap to be here.
Sure.
Like I said, companies have been coming and going. The economy, you're surrounded by like 3 or 4 GameStops. Why here in the middle of Franklin?
When I started this company, and I knew that we were going to have a brick and mortar retail presence, I wanted to do something high profile. I wanted that visibility. I wanted this store to be a platform for some of the things I knew I would go on and do. You know, Video Games The Family, the book that I've written, that's on Amazon, by the way. You know, and speaking engagements and some other things that I've been able to do. I wanted the visibility. I didn't want to be tucked off in a corner just to dodge,
Right.
you know, some...
And to die off.
That's right.
Really, if you were tucked away, probably.
Sure. And if you're going to do something in life, you can't worry about your competition. You just need to go out and execute and do the best that you can do. And if you do the best that you can do, and if it's interesting and compelling enough, you're going to have customers. You're going to be fine.
Sure.
And so, yeah, we started the business in the teeth of a recession. We opened in January 2009. And we started this store in the teeth of GameStop land, you know, because there are 3 of them here. There was a Game Crazy in Brentwood that went out of business shortly after we opened, and but we survived. You know, we've done well.
And I would imagine being across from a high school doesn't hurt.
You know, we get a lot of Centennial traffic, but we also get a lot of traffic from the 7 or 8 other high schools that are within a 10-minute driving radius as well. You know, we're just lucky. We built up a loyal following among gamers of all ages.
Sure. How happy were you when they, obviously the people listening don't know Franklin, but how happy were you when the interstate exit got put like right down the street?
Oh, it was great. You know, we tried to choose a spot that we would grow into and that Cool Springs would grow toward. And so, you know, we didn't want to just pay the utmost premium. You know, we wanted to be smart about it. And we chose a spot that we thought would be at the center of things to come. And we did that we ended up doing that pretty well.
Yeah. I love it. Have you always been in love with gaming? Was that a childhood thing, or was that something you grew into?
I've always been a gamer. My dad introduced me to gaming at an early age. Be it Donkey Kong in the arcade or some games on PC, you know, in the mid 80s, you know, right when that was kind of getting rolling. And what was interesting about that is that my parents then resisted getting me and my brother a video game system for a while, an original Nintendo, but we finally got one in 1988 or 89, a few years after it had been out.
Sure.
You know, but you know, I'm a big fan of the industry. I'm a big fan of how it's grown to well larger than music and movies combined.
Right.
And I'm excited to see where the industry goes. You know, everything is in transition, such deep transition right now.
Yeah.
But the industry will work its way out of it, and whether brick and mortar retail is part of it will remain to be seen. But but video games will be part of American culture for a long time.
It seems like it always has, but it seems, you know, it dove off for a little while, and then it'll come back, and it'll kind of go away. And you know, the arcade era was huge, and then as they kind of went into consoles, people were like, wait, you know what I'm saying? And now the arcade is barely around. You know, we talk, me and the guys talk all the time about missing that community, but it seems like, especially with the new PlayStations and Xboxes coming out, everything's geared towards social, but not necessarily in the same room kind of social. But couch co-op is something we talk about a lot, missing.
Yeah, couch co-op is dead. and it's unfortunate. Yeah. Because I can't tell you how many customers come in saying, I'm looking for something split screen. I'm looking for something co-op.
Really?
What's there? What's there on 360? What's there on PS3?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Call of Duty,
Halo.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the reality is that you know, there's probably a list of 5 to 10 solid couch co-op games for the 360, which is the dominant platform, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's Blur, there's Dungeon Siege 3. There's some ones that people don't necessarily think about. You know,
As
Minecraft is a good addition.
Yeah, sure.
Now, see, we're pretty familiar with that because it's so relevant to our parties that we hold.
Yeah, yeah. You guys have an awesome setup in here. I remember the first time I walked in, I was like, what is this huge, giant black encasing in the middle of the store? But you guys hold tournaments here.
We do. We hold a lot of our own events and tournaments and whatnot, and we do a large volume of private parties. Be it birthday parties, youth groups, corporate events, etc.
Sure.
And over the last 5 years, we've had a lot of success in doing that. And just so your listeners know, you know, I'm in the middle of selling this store, or else I'll close it because I'm ready to move on and pursue some other opportunities. And in all likelihood, I will remain in the industry.
Sure.
But you know, we've had a great 5 years, and part of that great 5 years has been just a ton of parties, because party business, you know, we earn that revenue, but we also sell gifts and gift cards before and after, and then we engender loyalty after delivering a great party that keeps people coming back.
Sure.
So it's been good.
And your tournaments, I was thinking about this last night, and what makes you decide we're going to do this game tournament? Just because you know how popular the game is, or
it's some if we have experience running it, if we know that there will be a turnout, a reasonable expectation of a turnout, those are the things that we'll look for. You know, I mean, because when we started the business, I did tournaments and all sorts of crazy stuff, and no one showed up. And so it became like, why would I run a tournament anymore in, say, FIFA? Which is a popular game.
Yeah, super popular.
Yeah, that people always ask for tournaments for. But
how do you lay that out?
As you learn when you run a business, just because someone asked for something and the words out of someone's mouth do not always match what it is that they will do.
So true, yeah.
And so the fact of the matter is, really the tournaments that people turn out for are fighting game tournaments, either hardcore stuff like Injustice or more casual leaning stuff like Smash. Or first-person shooter events like a Halo or Call of Duty.
Yeah. I remember a couple months ago, gosh, it might have been like 8-9 months ago now, me and my wife were looking at the website, and I was kind of looking at the tournaments, and I was thinking, what in my gaming library would I be confident enough to go to a tournament and get whooped by a 9-year-old at? Do you have a game that you're like, I could hold my own pretty well in this game?
I can hold my own decently in Black Ops 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard game to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, now, any MLG or pro gamer, and I use that word, you know, just loosely,
Yeah, sure.
you know, I would probably lose to those gamers, you know, 9 out of 10 times.
Oh, okay.
But on Xbox Live, you know, playing with a group of friends, I can hold my own.
Wreck shop. See, I was thinking more Dr. Mario was more where we fell.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I will kill you in Tetris.
Me and my wife, I was like, man, if they have a females only Dr. Mario thing, I think my wife could come and do all right.
Oh, yeah.
Because we love that game.
No, any thinking man's game, I'd give myself a shot.
I love that. Okay, so even though you're selling the store, which is super sad, we all know the Xbox announcement of how they are redoing their policies. I don't want to say reversing, but redoing some of their policies when it comes to used games. How does that feel as the owner of a store? Are you like, oh, good, or were you excited enough about what they were offering that you were like, well, I'd like this to move forward? Does the business side of you and the gamer side of you conflict on some of those things?
There's been many things over the years where the gamer side of me and the business side of me have been in conflict.
Sure.
With the Xbox One, everything is in harmony. And,
Really?
Yeah, and it's hating the system. You know, from a gamer standpoint, I've been a 360 gamer since launch.
Okay.
It is very upsetting to me, to put it mildly, that I can't port my Xbox Live Arcade games, which are just digital zeros and ones, over to the Xbox One.
Can I just say that makes zero sense to me?
Yeah.
I have no idea why they would do that.
It makes no sense to me either, and it angers me. It angers me greatly. And what it's done is it's done two things. Number one, it's put in question whether I will purchase an Xbox One. Number
Sure.
two, it's made me immediately stop buying Xbox Live Arcade games right now.
Right. Because you're like, well, I won't spend the money on stuff I might not get to.
That's exactly right. So that's had negative effects for me in terms of Microsoft. Now, they've gone, all the policies, and then they reversed all the policies. All that's well documented. So they still have a problem, and it's a public perception and trust problem. So if they're going
That really took like 5 days, it feels like. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it seems like boom, boom, and everyone's like, oh, I don't know about this Xbox stuff. You're like, wait, you guys love Microsoft and Xbox. What happened so quickly?
It was ridiculous, and it's very telling of how out of touch the company is. That number one, they would actually put those policies in place. Number two, it would take so long post E3 or even leading up to E3 to reverse their stances on some of those issues.
Right.
But I think what people were saying is true. They took a look at the pre-orders on Amazon and places like that, Walmart or wherever, and the writing was on the wall. Right. They were going to get killed.
Yeah.
It was surprising to see how long it took them to reverse course. So now they're going to do what they need to do to sell systems,
Right.
and then they will feel free to change whatever policies they want once you've spent that $500.
Right. Which is a lot of money.
It is. And $500 was already a problem unto itself. And it still remains a problem heading into the November launch because
it's Christmas time.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying? I know everybody always launches something at Christmas, but $500 at Christmas is a lot of money.
Historically, if you take a look at the last 20 or 30 years of gaming, $500 is pretty much the glass ceiling of pricing. You price over $500 for your new console, forget it. No one's buying it. Period. You just might as well go home and call it a day. If you price at $500, people will consider your system, but that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
$300 or $400. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it becomes a matter of what games do you have. So the challenge with Xbox One at the $500 price point is that there is now a very high bar for the launch lineup. Mm-hmm. And people are not going to be willing, unlike the 360, which had a weak launch lineup, with the Xbox One at $500.
But launched by itself. The Xbox
No, that's true.
360 didn't launch right alongside of the PS3.
No, absolutely. So we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
So, but the Xbox One at $500, no one's going to buy that without a strong launch lineup. So they've put themselves in a corner with that. Now you're right. With the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 coming out, literally within a week or two, they haven't finalized the release dates, but it's pretty clear. There's been rumors, the PS4 is the 5th of November and the Xbox One is the 13th. We'll see how true that ends up being. But, these systems are coming out right on top of each other. And so it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
Whatever system sales Sony takes away from Microsoft, whatever system sales Microsoft takes away from Sony, there's a fixed number of total system sales that will occur in the United States of America and worldwide during the fourth quarter. And very few people are going to buy both. You'll have people who buy both, but it's not going to be
especially around here in Franklin.
Sure. But there's not going to be that many.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about either people are going to buy one or they're going to buy none.
Yeah.
And so everything you do as a Microsoft or Sony is compared through the prism of competition. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be super interesting because I was thinking, it seems like Microsoft has given people a lot of reason to look at the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the PlayStation has given their fans the same go-ahead to look at Xbox One. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. There's still a lot that we don't know about these two systems. Everything is just... Everyone has gotten so caught up in the used game, the used game policies and the always-on internet, that we haven't been able to really get down in the weeds and demand more explanation from both Sony and Microsoft on some of the little details that have gotten brushed aside. For example, Sony was very clear in their briefing in February, I believe it was in February, that PlayStation Network, on PlayStation Network, you as a gamer will have to use your real name. That's a huge detail. That could be the headline of articles from here until November.
That's interesting.
But it hasn't been talked about. Yeah. And why? Because Microsoft has been so stupid that they've dominated the discussion with some of their policies. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is that's a very controversial thing to try to do.
It's funny. I've always, you get this with Google. You got it obviously with the Kinect and the always on, and you're like, is this going to be recording my house? And it's funny because I've never even thought, oh man, I got to use my real name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though I have the stupidest gamer tag that I made from 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm like so glad to be rid of it. But I've never thought of that as a real problem. Like somebody's gonna come find me.
Sure. Well, people are so justifiably uptight in this day and age about privacy and security concerns that people are going to want an explanation on why Sony now feels compelled to change what was one way with PlayStation 3 and now it's going to be another way with PlayStation 4.
Right.
Another thing, is I have no idea whether 360 Xbox Live gamers and Xbox One Xbox Live gamers will be able to play games or even talk to one another or interact at all.
That's interesting.
And they haven't explained that. And I get that nothing ports over to the Xbox One, and Xbox One's not backward compatible to 360, which I don't like, but at least both systems are equal in that regard.
Yeah. They could do it, though.
They could. Yeah, the stuff
is what's annoying.
The stuff, the excuses that are being made about the architecture being different and this, that, and the other, like not allowing games to be backward compatible, is total BS.
Isn't it?
Total BS.
I mean, what does it save you to make it backwards compatible? Probably cost them like $5.
Well, let me tell you something. If you're Microsoft or you're Sony, you're these billion-dollar companies.
Right.
If you want to do something, by God, you can do it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If you want to tell a team of engineers, hey, you're going to make the Xbox One backward compatible to Xbox 360. They're going to make the Xbox One backward compatible to Xbox 360.
Right.
Period.
From the get-go. Yeah.
So the people out there, the fanboys or whoever it is that's perpetuating the myth that the architecture prevents them from making these systems backward compatible
is ridiculous.
Yeah, they should stop doing that.
Blu-rays players read CDs.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I've got a good friend of mine that works for Intel, and we talk about this all the time. If a major tech company wants to do something and have groups of technology talk to one another, short of a licensing issue being the problem, it can happen.
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate that the Xbox One won't be backward compatible, but even they haven't gone into any detail on whether the two can even talk to one another via party chat or whatever.
Right.
Because if they don't do that, then all of a sudden they open the window up for PlayStation Network to really close that gap further. Because the story of this last generation of consoles has been Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 both got off to rocky starts. The Xbox 360 was rushed to market and had terrible problems, notably the Red Ring of Death, that led to Microsoft having to set $1 billion aside as a company to handle warranty and repair issues. But eventually it found its way thanks to Xbox Live.
Sure.
It really emerging as a obviously best in class online network.
Yeah, which was better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than the PSN.
Yeah, way more stable.
And probably because it costed money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Since they have money coming in, they can spend more money on getting it right.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the PlayStation 3 was defined by the fact that the hardware was so out in left field, the cell processor, that no one knew how to program for it, and Sony didn't take the measures to walk and coach their developers with it. They didn't have the resources in place.
Here you go, make a game for it.
Sure. And so while the PlayStation 3 was good for things such as like the Navy buying like thousands of them and linking them together to form like a supercomputing brain, which they did, you should Google that. It took developers a while, 12 to 18 months after launch, to really understand how to program for it. The first big title, I think, was Metal Gear Solid 4, which Metal Gear Solid 4, of course, could be released today, and most people wouldn't know the difference. They would think that's current gen because it's so groundbreaking in terms of the graphics.
Right.
So,
but the PS3 also had, hey, play your PS2 games on here.
At first, it did
to ease the woes of like, hey, they don't know how to make games for this just yet.
Well, they started with that, and then they cut that out as a cost cutting maneuver. But you're right, it did. And so, and even, most people don't even realize PlayStation 3s can play PlayStation 1 games.
I didn't know all of them?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've been playing my Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. Yeah. And it may be, I don't know if you have to be connected to PlayStation
That's
Network
really interesting.
or not,
I didn't know that.
they can. So, when people look back at this generation of consoles, they'll see that Xbox 360 got off to, they launched first. And they won this console cycle.
Yeah.
But PlayStation 3 has been gaining momentum for the last couple of years. Sure. And they've really narrowed the gap to where now Microsoft didn't have a lot of room to do this stupid stuff like they thought that they did.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all of these policies came from clear, Microsoft arrogance. That they are so...
Which was flip-flop last time.
Sure. They were so far ahead of Sony, and they had dominated this current console cycle to such an extent that they can call all the shots. when the reality
Sure.
is that Sony had closed the gap enough to where when Microsoft introduced these things, people just caused an uproar. And not only did they speak out, they didn't pre-order the system.
Right.
Which is the big thing. Don't let anybody say, Microsoft is doing this for any other reason other than some bean counter is looking at a spreadsheet that shows them they are getting killed.
Right. Hey, we got to do something.
Sure.
So even if people were complaining, but they were still selling systems, they wouldn't have switched the pods.
Not at all. Not at all.
All about that greenback.
Absolutely. This is Microsoft we're talking about.
Exactly, yeah. And Sony's not above it.
No, they're not.
Anybody would do it.
Sure, they would, but Microsoft has a larger, and this is where the difference in the two companies comes into play. Microsoft has a larger strategy at work spanning PCs and operating systems,
of course,
as well as other devices, and they have more wheels turning.
Maybe.
Sony used to be a lot more diversified of a company, and really over the last 5 years, really during the PS3 cycle, they've sold off a lot of assets and things like that. And gaming, this PlayStation 4 is really, really important to Sony.
Yeah.
Whereas it's very important. The Xbox One's very important to Microsoft too, but not on the same level.
Sure.
So that's kind of an interesting difference, but. Both these systems don't want to both these companies are not used to getting shown up by
anybody, yeah.
And,
except the mini disc. Sony was ready for that when they brought out the mini disc. Shoot.
That's why there's so much drama heading into November, and you can count on both of these companies holding an ace in their back pocket. They're going to try to pull something out last minute.
Whether it's backwards compatibility could be.
Sure. It could be that the other competitor can't possibly adjust to.
Not in time.
In the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And so it might be a pack-in game. It might be some feature of the online network that no one's thought about. It might be some cable integration with the Xbox One, some partnership that hasn't been announced.
Right.
It might be some exclusive to the console that hasn't been talked about. It could be any number of things, but trust me, you will see It's an arms race.
Yeah.
It's an arms race.
Yeah.
And, we'll see who emerges victorious.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
So you were at E3. I'll ask you quickly. I saw you in the stupidly massive, long security line at LAX.
Yes.
Leaving to get back to Nashville. No problem. You're hard to miss. You're a very tall man.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty conspicuous.
And it was for me. It was just nice to see a friendly face. I've been walking around by myself, for most of the time. And I was like, "Oh, Bradley, hey!" He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey, come stand here." He was like, "Oh, thank you," because that line had gotten long behind me, and I was at the end of the line. I felt like
you saved me there. Oh, you got me back on time.
We got to look out for each other. What was your favorite thing at E3? Because you were doing some different stuff. I was out gaming. You were having meetings.
Yeah, I was in the ESA's Games and Learning Roundtable all day Tuesday. Okay. And then Wednesday, I spent all day on the floor.
Okay, good.
The favorite thing I saw at E3, I saw a lot of great stuff. I liked what Disney was doing with Disney Infinity.
Sure.
Looked really good.
Good. I'm still very confused as to what that game is, but that's okay.
It's just a ripoff, basically, of Skylanders,
Yeah. Yeah.
But in terms of what the plot of the game is, I think we'll see.
Yeah, sure.
I liked what I saw at Battlefield 4. Mm-hmm. I would love for Battlefield 4 to be more of a competitor to Call of Duty.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And, Battlefield 3 made great strides. Battlefield 3 is a great game.
Yeah.
And I think that if...
They still had some catching up to do, though, it felt like.
They did.
Still felt a little old in comparison.
Well, the two games are different.
Yeah.
Battlefield is a much more hyper-realistic, tactical, team-based game.
Sure.
Call of Duty is a guns-blazing, arcadey style thing when you really get down to the nuts and bolts.
Take 4 or 5 shots and keep moving.
Sure. And so the two can coexist. Mm-hmm. But Battlefield 4, hopefully they will continue to refine it and just make it that ultimate multiplayer game it can be.
Yeah.
And it looks like that they're on their way to doing that.
Yeah.
I saw some great indie stuff. The ESA was doing a competition between 5 colleges, and I saw a game that Brigham Young University had out there.
Oh, okay.
That was a finalist for this grant, their money they were giving away. Nintendo's booth was excellent.
It was awesome, right?
Yeah, they did a great job. I liked seeing Pikmin 3. I thought Pikmin 3 was probably the best thing that Nintendo had in its booth, and Nintendo's booth was one of the best things that E3 had at it.
Yes. Yeah.
What else? What else did I see?
I really enjoyed Mario Kart 8. I got my hands on Mario Kart 8, and I was like, I know it's the 8th one, but that thing was awesome. It was so much fun.
I saw a trailer, a closed-door trailer for a PC and console game called Dying Light. It's going to come out first quarter of next year. That looked really good. Yeah, it's another zombie game. Yeah, it's another post-apocalyptic sort of thing.
But it's so hot right now.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
What else did I see out there? The crowds were the largest I've ever seen.
And excited.
Yeah, the enthusiasm was at a real high level.
It was very cool to see. What did you not? What was your least favorite? We talked about this last couple weeks ago, where we were each saying our favorite thing about E3 and our least favorite thing.
Yeah, the least favorite thing is easy choice for me. So, graphics card maker NVIDIA has a new product hitting market in the next month or two called the NVIDIA Shield.
Yep.
And this thing was some real trash.
Was that the thing where it's like it's a handheld looking thing?
Imagine if you're listening to this, a iPhone or mobile type screen attached to the top of an Xbox 360 looking controller.
Right.
And the screen can fold up or down on top of the controller, and you can carry this thing with you. And the game
is huge, though, number one.
Oh, it's large. Yeah, it's a large
You're not putting it in your pocket. That's a backpack device.
Yeah, you'd have trouble putting it in your pocket, yeah. So it's kind of a tweener type of device.
Yeah. And
the games for it are Android-based, free-ish, freemium, like stuff.
Is it like
type of fare?
Would you say it was like a mobile Ouya?
Yeah, I would. And I asked him, I played Star Wars Pinball on there, and it was actually good. It was a good game, and the resolution of the screen looked nice. It was crisp and everything, and but it's something that easily would be on iOS or something like that.
I didn't understand the point.
So I asked him at this booth where you could go and try the product out. I said, how much is this going to cost when it hits market, it hits retail, and they said $349.
Not $349. $349?
$349.
$50 off the new PlayStation?
Yeah, $50 less than the PS4. And I looked at the woman, and I'm sure I had this look of disgust on my face, and she said, yeah, we haven't gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. And I just laughed. Now, what's interesting is just yesterday, NVIDIA came out and said, hey, guess what? We're cutting our price to $299. But I'm like, that's still too much. This is a $150 device.
Well, and when there's devices out there that allow you to play with a controller with your phone.
Yeah.
It takes a little hacking, maybe a little rooting and stuff, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A controller you already have?
There's not a real clear reason to own this device. And so, they're in trouble, and it's NVIDIA. They never had a system before. So, maybe they just got to take their lumps, and learn. But, I mean, there's a 0% chance I would buy it, because it's just, and this really speaks to a larger point, which was very clear at E3. It is a crowded marketplace.
Sure.
It is a crowded industry if you have a piece of software or hardware or accessory to sell. And the dollar, I mean, there's going to be fewer dollars this holiday season, and there are just as few as there have been the last couple. We're still in a stagnant economy. And so you really have to bring it in terms of the value that you offer, whether you're a game or a accessory or whatever. And one of the better things I saw, which stood out in stark contrast to me, to the NVIDIA Shield, was the Retron 9. which plays Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and Game Boy Advance cartridges. I might be leaving something out, I don't know.
Yeah.
And Hyperkin's booth out at E3,
You brought a 4 home, right? Did you bring a 4 home?
I brought a FC3 Plus with me to play with a friend of mine in the hotel room. Yeah.
So I saw your security had all kind of stuff in a bag. And I think that's a retro.
Yeah, I brought a similar system with me just to play out there.
Yeah, nice.
But it's a great system. I think it's a $99 price point. They're trying to reach with it,
with a huge library of games.
Oh yeah, thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, the marketplace isn't going to support it. It's the same thing for Xbox One or PS4 or anybody. The rules are the same. You have to really justify the dollar, or else no one's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many good games out. There's been the story of 2012 and 2013 really, from my standpoint as a retail store owner, putting that hat on, there have been so many games coming out that people can't keep up.
Sure.
And they've just given up. And there's a real understanding out there that, hey, there's a bunch of good stuff out. Hit up a used game store and find you something good.
Yeah.
Or either a bargain bin at a Kmart or something.
Yeah.
And if the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 aren't careful, people will not buy them. And they will continue, and instead they will go through an archaeological dig of what's come out in the last 24 to 36 months and find those
gems.
Those gems. Games like Mirror's Edge.
Remember Me. A lot of people don't talk about that.
Remember Me is a great example. I've been playing that. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Damned. Or even go further back to a game like Catherine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
There's tons of good stuff out there that people have just totally missed. And given the fact that, again, based on history, we know that the 360 and the PS3 will not die immediate deaths. They're going to continue to live on the next year or two.
Yeah.
Sony was making PS2 games. I think Madden 11 came out on the PlayStation 2.
FIFA 13.
Did it really?
Came out on the PS. We joked about it on the show. I was like, so they just made the last game for PlayStation 2. It was FIFA 13. It's just crazy how long that it, and obviously that's a huge game, but how long it can last.
Sure. So if they're not careful, people will just stick with what they have.
Yeah. Well, Bradley, we appreciate you sitting down with us, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's good to see you.
Appreciate it, Gabe. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
So that dude knows his stuff.
I'll say.
Bradley, thank you again for being on the show. He is a smart freaking guy, man.
I really need to go to that store now.
Oh yeah, you've got to go. You've got to go.
I feel like such a schmo for not going to that store yet, and I've driven by it a few times. I'm like, oh, there's the score. Like I never really knew where it was. So Bradley, we're coming for you. We're going to come see you and support you, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, and I looked at his Twitter page, and I saw like he had that post about all the stuff we took in today, and they had like a ton of classic games and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah,
because I know that you can get it all on the internet anyway, but it's so much more fun to go to the store and buy it.
Right, exactly. So me and Bradley touched on it. Bradley kind of came at it from a different angle, but I think we would be irresponsible as podcasters and bringers of news if we didn't at least give our 2 cents on the whole Xbox One flip-floppy. So, Hall, what are your initial thoughts as well? When, of course, when we recorded the podcast, they reversed their policies the next day, so all week we haven't been able to talk about it. But what do you think? What's your initial thoughts with it?
What are my thoughts on the Xbox One flippy floppy? Honestly, I saw this coming. I mean, like I knew that we were kind of talking about, well, why would they do this? And man, that really sucks that it ended up the way it did. But if they wouldn't have flip flopped on this, I think it would have been detrimental to the sales of the Xbox One.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm honestly happy about it. Everybody wins. So
Kind
the
of.
only
Because people are still upset. That's what's so funny.
People are upset. I mean, once you get a bad taste in your mouth, there's nothing you can do. Like, remember when Netflix was going to spin off their DVD service and call it Quickster, and everybody got mad?
Right. And they were going to start a video game service up, and I got happy and then got mad again.
Yeah, exactly. I did too. So, I mean, people never forget that kind of stuff. And honestly, their stock took a hit because of it, and their CEO had to like do a video apology for it.
I remember that.
Where's Xbox's video apology? Really?
Yeah.
We are sorry. Just give them something.
Jeez. Right.
Yeah, the fact that they came out and did this in a blog post is kind of, I mean, it is a little sleight of hand. Like, yeah, well, sorry you couldn't get on board with our policy, but here you go.
It's such a disconnect between Microsoft and its core audience. I think they seem to continuously just be pulling themselves back away from their audience and from their core gamers. Whereas I think Sony has like embraced it and is running toward them and listening to them.
Well,
Sony made this mistake already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's because Sony screwed up so bad last time. I mean, I'm not letting them out on this. I'm just saying that it happened last gen, and they came out the gate really screwed up. I remember when I had seen that the price was going to be $5.99, I was like, that is just arrogant. That is ridiculous.
It's complete role reversal this generation. That's the weird thing. It's like a complete role reversal. And I wasn't involved or really too interested in this last gen. Like I wasn't following up like I am now. But it's just from everything I've read, it's just a complete flip flop. And this is where Sony has an opportunity here to kind of take back over their market. But I think just as to my point is I think Bradley is spot on, because he said basically Microsoft's accountant started taking a look at the pre-sales for the PS4, knowing full well they're getting smoked, and they're like, we got to do something. So they're basically abandoning, throwing everything off the boat to make them faster and lightweight. They're saying, okay, we're going to reverse this, and I still think there's going to be a catch somewhere, and I think there might be a catch on the Sony side too. I don't know, but I've already got everything set up, with my PS Plus account. That's already taken care of, so I'll have access to all the online games and all that stuff. My foundation is already set for a nice, easy transition to PS4, and right. I don't think, as if you're an Xbox user, or I don't think it's going to be a smooth transition at all.
My thing was, I was looking, at different stories and seeing what people were saying, and I saw how mad people were getting. And so I called my Xbox buddy, I think we all got one, the guy that hates everything Sony, and everything Sony does is ridiculous, and blah, 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 blah. Their movies are stupid. Their console's stupid. You know what I'm saying? And so I called him and I was like, hey, it's Gabe. What the heck is everybody so mad about? And he broke it down to me. And, but the problem is, even he was still on both sides. He was like, look, I just went and bought a 360 because I was so mad about what was going on. And I think the main problem they're having is a lack of communication, because I think their ideas that they had were good. It's their execution of explaining it to the public that's not good. And the fact that it's so popping the clutch into the next generation. So let's just zoom out for a second. They wanted you to be able to buy the CD, put it in the Xbox, it install on the Xbox. You don't need the CD, and then it's tied to your account, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what ends up happening is everybody gets caught up in the used games. Well, how do I get my, how can I let a buddy handle blah, 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 blah. Not understanding that, like, us original gamers, like some of us PC guys, this is the way it's always been. I bought Max Payne, I installed it on my computer, I entered the serial number, and I played it on my computer without the disc, and I couldn't give it to Hall. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be like, here, Hall, now you play it, because it was already tied to my computer.
Yeah, here's the problem. That mantra has existed on PC, and everybody who lives by that mantra will keep playing on the PC. They're not going to get the Xbox One.
No. Yeah. I totally understand that. But the thing that I'm saying is there's definitely a market for that.
Yeah.
But what Microsoft has done is they wanted to force that onto everybody all of a sudden. And so there's no way for us to know that it's a good idea, or console gamers to know it's a good idea, because number one, they've never had to do it. You can't go on eBay and look for used PC games. Like, they barely exist because of registration numbers and stuff like that. And unless you get into, cracking stuff and things like that. Which,
and the thing with the PC too is that typically you're getting a digital download, and typically it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I see a lot of PC games day one, they're $35.
Right, for sure. And I totally understand that. So I think if Microsoft would have a year ago been like, hey, we're going to start releasing games that you can install on your Xbox 360, and started like kind of ushering that in, then maybe it could have been a step in the right direction once they did it on the One. I think people still wouldn't have liked it, but at least they could have tested it out instead of being like, we're bringing out this new machine and you're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Nobody looked at what you could do. They just looked at what you couldn't do, and what you couldn't do is different than what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know necessarily that it was a terrible idea, but I think it was a terrible, it was communicated terribly. And I don't think you can do it just out of no place. It's like if I had a horse and somebody said, hey, use this car. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to use my horse. Does the car take hay? And they're like, no, it takes gas. It's like, well, where do I get gas from? Well, you have to go to the gas station. Like, yeah, I'll stick with my horse. It's not that the move isn't in the right direction, but it can't be so sudden.
It wasn't gradual at all. And I mean, it's just like you said, the communication thing, it's a total disconnect with the customer.
Oh my gosh.
And this, like I said, this reminds me exactly of Sony in the last generation. Right out the gate, it was a total disconnect with customers. They said, $5.99, you're going to buy it anyway. Deal with it. Right. Exactly. And people were like, nope. That's kind of what I feel like they were, doing with the One right out the gate. They're like, it's going to have, we're going this route with the policies. You're going to have to use Connect. Deal with it.
Yeah, seriously. Another thing before we jump into these questions, Bradley was saying the thing that he hated the most, or what he didn't like at E3, was the NVIDIA Shield, which I saw the thing. It's crazy. But Apple is coming out and it's probably going to destroy the Shield. So Apple's OS 7 is rumored to be able to link up with third-party controllers, which will ruin what NVIDIA is trying to do, because they've already got a huge library of games, and now you're going to be able to link it up to controllers, and they might come out with their own controllers. But I think that's going to be a game changer. I would love to have a controller with my iPad, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Speaking
of course, I love touch and everything, but I think just wanting to sit back and play some things sometimes.
Total side note. Speaking of that, though, you just raised a point. Congratulations this week, the Ouya, or however the heck you want to say it. The Ouya comes out. Oh yeah, I like that better. The Oh yeah comes out in the U.S. this week. So congratulations to them. We have another console.
And it was like sold out everywhere. I think it was sold out on Amazon already.
I'm interested to check it out.
Yeah, I think that'll be. I think it'll be interesting. So that's pretty cool. We've got another console out on the loose.
Which I think that if this controller thing works out for Apple, they're into that market already without even trying.
Done. Yep, done deal.
Because I'd much rather. I mean, hey, I'm an Android guy. I have an Android phone. I don't have a lot of Mac products, but I freaking love iOS games.
Yeah.
I don't really like Android games for some strange reason. I don't know if it's just because I haven't dove in as deep, or they don't make it as easy to find the cool ones. But if somebody knows of some awesome Droid games out there, let me know. Not that I need something else killing my battery on my S2, because the battery already sucks. Okay, router.
What do you think? Should we get into it?
Let's do it, unless Hall's got something.
Nope. Let's go to questions.
Sweet. Well, first off, thanks to everybody. Man, we're getting more and more people who are asking questions, and thank you so much. We love getting these from you, and we love talking about it, and it's a good time.
Yes,
all right, let's get right
thank you.
Let's get right into this. We got some Twitter questions and then Facebook questions. The first question is really more for me. It's from Bush.
Of course, the guy that picks the questions is like,
exactly.
And the first one goes directly to me. How do you stay so handsome, Router?
Exactly. Well, let me, no. It's funny just because it was a good comment. So Bushmackle wrote, "All right, here's a question. Is it intentional that comments are turned off on the website?" I thought that was See, that's why I had to bring it up.
No.
I thought that was perfect.
That
was
you.
perfect.
No.
It's all me, and absolutely, because I don't want to have to deal with all the spam that WordPress goes through. And
there is a ton of spam.
There's a ton. Even if you have all the add-ons and the plugins, forget about it. I just keep comments off, and I would much rather tweet with you or Facebook or use any of these great social networks, so I don't have to worry about spam or getting any type of, hey, go get your Russian brides here kind of thing.
And we have our comments turned on, obviously, on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
So I know it might be a couple extra steps, but all of our episodes are on YouTube, and the comments are open on there. So drop us comments there if you have something about particular shows. We would love that.
Have at it. Absolutely. So I thought that was a good question. All right. Next one. At Visual Leader, Deacon Silverback wrote, "What do you guys think will be the first next-gen hit?"
Call of Duty Ghost, unfortunately.
I got to go with Gabe on that one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm going to go with you on that one, too. Okay.
Even though the 3DS has shown us that, Wii U could come out with something. And, whether it be Pikmin, Bradley was talking about, or Mario Kart, that's still Wii U. We have to remember is still considered next gen, even though it's here.
Oh, sure.
But maybe it could pop something up that surprises us and ends up on the top 10 for forever.
That's the one thing that Wii U has over every other next gen console right now is that it's out. People have been kind of using it and learning to harness what it has. So Mario Kart's, I almost said 7. Mario Kart 8, is it?
Yeah, 8.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be the first next gen hit.
True.
I can't wait to play that game, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Great question there. Here's another good one. At Urban Dave Morgan wrote, "Is gamers' fear of change the real reason for lack of innovation in the games industry?"
Wow.
I think that's interesting coming from a gamer. I'd love to hear what developers have to think. I think developers they're pushing the limits based on what this current gen is. Now that we have a next gen console, I think we're going to see a lot more innovation because they have more tools, more ammo to use to really start pushing. I mean, look at the Oculus Rift already. I mean, there could be some serious innovations in the next couple of years with that.
Yeah.
We still don't know. I think gamers actually like change, but I think they want a change that's convenient for how they play currently. And I think that's we've already talked about it. I think that's why a lot of people are so mad at the Xbox One, because they're kind of really reinventing the way that you have to play your games. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They're very this is my style of play. This is how I like to play, and this is how I like to access my games. And I think in there, they don't want a drastic change, but they want it more convenient.
Yeah. I think too, I mean, it's so crazy just as the Xbox One thing goes on and on, because I think he's probably talking about policies, like you're saying, over actual games.
Yeah.
Even the family share thing, remember the thing that Xbox One had going for a second that kind of died off with now that they're going to reverse everything. But even the family share thing was explained like, hey, you're going to get these games and anybody can play. You could choose 10 friends and they get to play whatever is on your system. But I don't think it actually worked like that. Like, I read a story where a Microsoft employee kind of went on this rant on this blog, and he was like, the family share thing we're really excited about, but what they didn't tell you was it was really like 15, 20-minute demos, not just play the game wherever you're at.
Well, of
And I was
course
like,
not. I mean, they still want to sell copies of the game.
Exactly. And I was like, so why is that a good idea? You know what I'm saying? Why not just make demos available to people? But I think to his question, I think we just got to be eased in more. It just can't be this gear switching that happens and is forced. I think you have to give people the option, I think. And then, like the things with the Illumi room, which they haven't talked too much about. But I think that stuff's all going to gradually, like we've talked about before, start coming in, and just like other peripherals that we have in the house. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Good question.
I think one thing that they don't do that they should. I mean, obviously they want everybody to move to an all digital future because that locks in everybody's purchase. You can't sell it, etc.
It's cheap.
And when it gets to digital too, think about it. They're not giving a cut to retailers at that point either.
Exactly.
So I think if that's their ultimate goal and they want to end up in that place, I mean, they don't ever advertise that stuff. Do you ever in an Xbox 360 or PS3 ad see, hey, get this game day one digital? Do you ever see that?
I don't think so. They might have like the little stamp down in the bottom, you know what I'm saying, with that little day one digital thing, but I don't ever see that being the selling point of the thing for sure.
I mean, they really never advertise digital games in general. Like, how are you supposed to know they exist? Like I said, I've met people with 360s that don't know that Xbox Live Arcade exists.
Wow.
They have no idea.
It's kind of like iOS games. Like, I think, not only is it crowded, but it's hard to know when one launches that's not big. Well, how do you know? It's just, on the App Store.
And there's, reviews and stuff, but basically, I mean, they don't put any weight into their digital program. If you had a console, if you had Xbox 360, they're, showing off a game or something, there's an ad on TV, and right at the end, they take 5 seconds to say, hey, download this now on your Xbox, get it first in line, basically digital. I mean, I think if a lot more people knew that option exists, people with disposable income would go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Good question.
Yeah, really good question.
Mm-hmm.
At that Shelfie, Chow Fee, asks.
We have a rough time with his name every single time.
I know. I'm sorry. Here's a great question. Have you played a game that really pulled your heartstrings? Papo and Yo ruined me.
Man, I didn't play that game. I heard that was really good.
Oh, I heard it was really good too. For me, I don't know. I think The Last of Us has already pulled on my heartstrings. I mean, the first 10 minutes of it will, I think. So for me right now that was. But you know what? It wasn't necessarily pulling heartstrings, but you get really, I don't know, when I played Journey, you got very surreal and it was kind of calming, and I don't know, there was just something about that game. It was just really soothing. But for me, I think right now it's going to be The Last of Us.
Someone died in Final Fantasy VII.
I don't think that's spoiler material at this point.
I know. I'm just saying that just in case somebody gets mad at me. And then I was younger. But Walking Dead, I think, really showed
Walking Dead was pretty
grip between the characters.
I forgot about that one.
And
that's a good one.
Definitely pulled heartstrings.
Yep.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII really got to me when I was young, when I played it. Especially that scene that Gabe called into question. Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So
that was crazy. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching, I feel like if you ever want a hilarious, just YouTube waste of time real quick, just go watch the reaction videos of the last episode of Game of Thrones. I'm not going to say anything because it's recent. I'm not going to say anything. Yep. Just watch the reaction videos. It's hilarious, and that's how I felt in the middle of Final Fantasy VII.
That's awesome. I have all those episodes to watch still for Game of Thrones, so good, no spoilers. I don't want to hear it.
It's kind of crazy because the Final Fantasy VII thing has been spoiled so much now at this point that I don't think you could play that game objectively, like not thinking about that stuff.
Exactly.
And Game of Thrones, I don't watch Game of Thrones, so you can spoil whatever.
No, I'm not spoiling it. I'm not spoiling it.
All right. We're running low on time, so I've got one more question from our boy William J. Hines at Facebook.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
good one.
What up, that William?
How long before Apple and Google get into the gaming business for the TV? They both have set-top boxes, and I think at least Apple, you can mirror your screen to the TV. They both support third-party controllers. So what impact will that have in the gaming world? That's huge. That's loaded. Here's the thing. I don't know if Apple and Google are they trying to get into the market, or are they just letting Sony and Microsoft duke it out? It's either they're already developing something and they just haven't told anybody and it's going to come and rock everyone's faces, or they're just watching what the majors do and maybe they'll slowly but surely. I think they've got a good thing with iOS games. Why kind of rock the boat?
Well, I mean, we just talked about Ouya. I mean, that's kind of, I know it's not Google, but I think that's, it works off the Google Play Store, doesn't it? Isn't it Android games?
I think it's their own.
It's Android based.
I think it's their own curated store, though. Like, I think they have some type of quality control for that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because with the Google Play Store, just like iOS, I mean, you get inundated with stuff, and you don't know what's good and what's not.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think it would be very easy for them to do so because they have such a huge market share anyway with iOS and iTunes and the App Store. I think maybe Apple more than Google has the advantage there. But yeah, I mean, if they do, I think what it's going to be is more of the mobile / tablet gaming world. I think they've got that on lock. But
they've already making so much money, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they want to put that much time and development into doing something that Sony and Microsoft are already doing and have been doing for years? I don't know.
I don't think so, just because Sony and Microsoft are going for horsepower, and I just don't see Apple doing that inexpensively. Like I think their main focus has always been, at least for something connected to your TV, an Apple TV device, which could do games if they unlocked it to do that. Mm-hmm. And it's going to do those types of experiences, iOS and, Android type experiences where you've got either a short game or a simple game. And it's, it's not a AAA experience. You know what I mean?
Shoot, Infinity Blade was up there, though.
Infinity Blade was really good. But, I mean, that was developed by Chair, was it?
Yeah.
A real developer.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not to say that, EA doesn't have a mobile division and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's when I game on a console, it's a lot different than playing a game on my phone or playing a game that I would expect to come from an Apple TV. So
yeah, I don't think they'll rush to market. No. I don't think that they see the upside of it yet. They're like, hey, we're making great money letting you play all these games on your phone. I think maybe they'll slowly, like they're doing with this controller, slowly things will work towards that, but I don't see them releasing a console anytime soon. I think they'll just have more ways that you can connect your phone to your television, and then next thing you know, your phone is your console on your television if you feel like doing that.
Yeah, I don't think it's them getting into the gaming business. They're already in the gaming business with their iOS games, and Google has theirs as well. So I think they're already in it, but I don't think they're going to go all in and try and compete with what's already out there. I think what they may do is create things that enhance it. I mean, look at the different tablet integrations now that you can do with these next gen games. If any of you saw the Division gameplay, somebody was on a tablet and they were air support for you. So I think incorporating that, I think incorporating that is going to be awesome. That will be very, very cool.
Good deal.
So
there you have it.
We'll see. That's it, man.
Questions,
That's a wrap
you guys.
on
yeah,
questions.
I really appreciate getting the questions, and we definitely get a lot more than we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's awesome, man.
From the get-go, I think right at the beginning we had the same three people asking questions every week, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
But we appreciate it, man. It's so much fun to talk about it.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, it is. It does not go unnoticed that you guys are talking to us, and we're trying to talk back to you as much as possible. If we miss your comments or things like that, we're sorry. We're trying our best because we want to talk to you guys. That's why we're here, and that's why we continue to be here. 41 weeks strong, y'all. Every week. We haven't missed a week yet. We appreciate you guys that are going back and listening to the early episodes, man. That's so fun for me to hear. I've seen some of you guys Twitter and be like, I'm starting on the pilot. I'm like, oh snap, that's way back in the day. So we appreciate you guys doing that and sticking with us. You guys know where to find us. Tell your friends about us. marriedtothegames.com. We're going to try to continue to bring cool interviews to you guys. We have some on the docks that are waiting to be brought in. And so I think it's going to be a fun year. We have exciting things happening with gaming. And I don't think this game news is about to slow down anytime soon. So, yeah, thank you guys. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter, MTTGcast. We're on Facebook.com/marriedtothegames. We're all over the place. We're on Podomatic. We're on Stitcher, iTunes. We're everywhere. We're trying to be, at least.
Please rate us on iTunes.
Yeah, please rate us on iTunes. That would be awesome. You know, the one with 5 stars. But if you feel like we deserve 1 star, we need to know. So let us know. You can give us 1 star. Just let us know why you're giving us 1 star. Don't just be like, y'all suck. Peace. And be like, no. We want to know why we suck. So thank you, guys. It is so humbling to be able to talk back and forth with you guys. So I'm Gabe Patillo for Tim Router, for Timothy Hall. We are married to the games, and we up out this thing. Peace!